I'll begin with an update on the number of cases in our province. Since the media briefing yesterday, we have 8 new positive cases. All of these cases are within Eastern Health Region. The public health contact tracing is ongoing, and everyone considered close contacts will be advised to quarantine. The total number of cases in our province is now 183. By region, we have 174 cases in Eastern, 3 in Central, 1 in Western, and 5 in Labrador-Grenville Health. Of the 183 cases, 143 are related to calls funeral home. 54% of cases are female and 46% male. By age, we have 14 people under the age of 20, 24 between 20 and 39, 31 between 40 and 49, 41 between 50 and 59, 38 between 60 and 69, and 35 who are 70 and above. 11 people are now in hospital due to the virus. Of these patients, 4 are in intensive care. 10 people have now recovered. In total, we have tested 2,929 people. Our public health officials are working tirelessly to protect you and contain the spread of our COVID-19 in our community. Our regional health authorities are there and ready to respond. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for following physical distancing measures. March in Newfoundland and Labrador always seems to drag on forever. I know these measures have magnified that feeling. I need everyone to understand that we are at the beginning of this epidemic in our province, and now is not the time to become complacent. These measures, if we stay vigilant, will work to reduce the spread of COVID-19 in our province as it has worked elsewhere. Thank you to healthcare workers for continuing to show up and care for people in this unprecedented and rapidly evolving time. Thank you to essential workers for continuing to provide the services that we all need to keep life as normal and connected as possible in this uncertain time. Your dedication to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador is inspiring. I'd also like to thank Sheila Keats and Heather Crane, our ASL interpreters, who have shown up every day to ensure that our messaging is accessible to all. And I personally would like to thank the public health team and the staff at the Department of Health and Community Services, as well as public health teams in the regional health authorities. I realize that I am the public health face that you see every day, except for the last few, but there is a whole team of people who are working tirelessly to ensure that we know the latest evidence and can apply the best science to shape our response to this virus. The regional public health teams are carrying out contact tracing and providing advice to all those who are identified as cases and contacts, and this is exceptionally important work in the control of COVID-19 spread. We must all do our part to reduce the spread of COVID-19. You must continue to protect yourself and your loved ones. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water or use a hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. Avoid touching your face. Regularly clean high-touch surfaces such as doorknobs, remotes, and phones. Only go out when necessary and stay home if you are unwell. Our collective actions will have significant impact on how COVID-19 progresses in our province. Thank you.
Well, thank you once again, Dr. Fitzgerald. And I also want to reiterate some of the comments that was been made by Dr. Fitzgerald in her opening remarks there by thanking all our workers at Public Health. Indeed, they are doing a great job of working, and many of them behind the scenes, keeping health and safety a priority for all Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. As Dr. Fitzgerald said, that for those of you that are following and abiding by the guidelines that she's put in place, once again, thank you very much. You know, collectively, our actions will get us through this. By working together and with physical distancing, we must work together to make sure we work our way through this period of time in our lives. We all know that the time is now. We must not let up. Being focused on priorities for social and economic well-being has been the priority for those of us that are working on your behalf. Every piece of work that we do is to protect and to support you. And just a reminder for those students, and we're going to be talking quite a bit about students today, but we just recently suspended the repayment of the provincial portion of your student loans. And for those of you who have listened to us and at this table talk about the supports for essential workers with childcare, well, I can tell you today that we've had some 65 childcare operators that have stepped up to support our essential workers. So I too want to recognize and thank them for their efforts. So in keeping with that theme today, I am joined by Minister War. Of course, for our students in the K-12 system and those essential workers, there's no question these are challenging times. These are challenging times for our students, for our educators, and for our families. So in challenging times, we always look for new ways to do things. So many actions that we've taken since mid-March would have been simply early in March. On March the 6th, we started to cancel school trips, school travel. In-class instruction was canceled or suspended on March the 16th, with the last day in class on March the 13th. So since then, the focus would be on ensuring learning continues for our students. So some information for our K-9 students, well, they will move on to the next grade level next year. And students that are eligible to graduate will receive a valid mark this year. So they will graduate on time, and they will not be disadvantaged in their plans for post-secondary studies. Learning resources are available for our K-9 students. So teachers will be in regular contact with our students throughout and to support their needs at this time. So teachers will be supported also by the district in developing new learning activities for you. So once again, I commend the efforts of our teachers who are supporting our students in their time of need. And you need look no further than what's happening on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and throughout the social media platforms that we have available to us to see the tremendous work that our teachers are doing, staying engaged with their students, or indeed going above and beyond. So this is encouraging for students and all of us when we look at our own lives. And even today, I still get messages from teachers in my own life that encourage me and inspire me on a daily basis to keep going on and keep doing what we are doing on behalf of every Newfoundlander and Labradorian. I also know that this is the time of the year for high school students, well, you're feeling a little anxious because you're thinking about your post-secondary plans. But we can assure you that no student will be disadvantaged because of COVID-19. You'll have access to online learning opportunities. Your classroom will change. It could be your dining room, it could be your bedroom, it could be in some other room in your house. But your classroom will change from what you've been used to for most of your life. But you will have access to online learning activities. You will be given every opportunity to address any gaps in your learning, making sure that every measure is possible to support you. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Minister War to provide some further information on the K-12 system this year.
Thank you, Premier. The impacts of COVID-19 are bringing changes to our normal practices and routines on a daily basis. As our public health officials advise us, this is not a sprint, but a marathon. Given these circumstances and the knowledge that current restrictions due to the pandemic may continue for some time yet, public exams for this year are canceled. In addition, we have been in ongoing discussions with the English and Francophone school districts, and in consultation, we have determined that final exams for all high school and intermediate courses will also be canceled. As the Premier stated, our focus has been on ensuring learning continues for all students, particularly high school students and graduating students. The cancellation of exams does not mean that learning is ending or that the school year is over. In anticipation of the cancellation of exams, the school districts have been working to develop continuity of learning plans. These plans involve teacher support and the use of online learning platforms. For example, through the Center for Distance Learning and Innovation, otherwise known as CDLI, students can access high school courses and teachers can provide feedback, guidance, and support. The English School District also has its own mathematics YouTube channel with a variety of instructional videos and other resources for grades 7 to level 3. Teachers will also connect with students through platforms such as Google Classroom and Google Meet, a video conferencing tool. We appreciate that students will want to know what their current standing is at this point in time. They will receive a grade to reflect their work to March 13th, the final day of classes prior to schools being closed due to the pandemic. The mark will be communicated to students by April the 22nd. However, as stated, and this is very important, learning is continuing and students are encouraged to engage with their teachers to ensure they maximize their opportunities with respect to achieving curriculum outcomes. For graduating students in particular, Level 3 students on track to graduate will be eligible to graduate. Options have been developed for students who may be at risk of failing a course and for students who may have already failed a course. And the district is in the process of determining the need for computer hardware and connectivity for students without access. If at some point school resumes, the time remaining will be used for instruction rather than writing exams. I also want students to know that guidance services will be available to all students, and they will be available to schedule individual service or to join group sessions based on areas of interest.